Also, I mean, you look at Drake's recent album. He's putting out an album every year, if not two a year, and they all suck. First of all, and also, he probably has a gambling addiction and needs the money. But we'll get into that.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of R&R with RTZ. I'm your host, Rahib T-Zaman, and today the T stands for Top Dog Entertainment.
What's up, guys? I'm Anmol. Second time on the show, but this time a better topic, I think. And I'm not a Swiftie because I want this to go viral. I want to just put that out there.
What's up, everyone? This is Prithvi, a.k.a. Pushin' P.
If you haven't figured it out from all these references, we are talking about the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef that's been going on for the last few weeks. Maybe the last ones to talk about it, but we still have some things to say. So let's get into it. Rest and relax while we rant and ramble. R&R with RTZ. All right. So, who wants to give a brief overview of this whole thing from the beginning? What's been happening?
We just kind of talked through it, right? I think most people at this point have definitely heard at one or if not all the songs that have been released. There's a beef between Kendrick Lamar and Drake. I think general consensus is that Kendrick Lamar has ousted Drake in terms of skill and maybe crimes.
Of everything.
Maybe a lot of fronts.
Yeah.
Especially some criminal ones.
Yeah. But yeah, this all happened. I guess we're recording this. What is the date today?
Sunday, May 26th.
Yeah. So this all happened in the past 3 weeks.
Yeah. All in May, I would say. More or less,
early May. Overview. It all started with Like That. There was a song with Metro Boomin and Future, and Kendrick Lamar was a surprise feature on that song. It was uncredited, it didn't say featuring Kendrick Lamar. Listeners were just going through this album, and then out of nowhere, Kendrick Lamar comes out of nowhere and is like, "Yeah, fuck those two guys over there calling us the big three."
He said, "Fuck the big three. It's just big me."
Yeah.
And a quick aside to that, that big three thing that was mentioned on the Drake song "First Person Shooter," and basically
that was the opposite of a diss track. That was J. Cole getting love, honestly.
And another thing, more background is Kendrick was actually supposed to be on that song.
Oh.
So if you listen to J. Cole's verse, why is he mentioning Kendrick that much? It was because he was supposed to be on that song. I don't think anyone knows exactly what went down, but Kendrick,
I think we can allude to that after everything that's happened.
Some people say that he just dropped Kendrick's verse off the song.
So you think he already sent in a verse?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
I don't know this for sure, but that is a storyline that's going on. So that's some more background, and we'll talk a little bit more about how this beef has been going for bubbling for a decade or more.
Right. There's been a lot of connections over the years.
Right.
So past songs no one will ever think of, and Kendrick actually dissed Drake here. That motherfucker hates him.
Yeah, exactly. And it's it all makes sense now.
Yeah.
But I think we'll delve more into the history of it after.
So first, timeline-wise, first came out Like That to officially kind of start that beef. If you want to go back, you can start with First Person Shooter, but the actual diss Like That. And then J. Cole came out first with the return diss. It was so bad, I don't even remember the name of the song. What was it?
It was called 7 Minute Drill.
Shout
out to David. When we went to karaoke, he kept asking us to
no
7 Minute Drill.
Every diss song,
he put it on. And everyone was looking around
who knows this song?
I love you, David.
That was, I think, universally hated and kind of shamed J. Cole out of the diss circle, just this triangle that was going on, to the point where
it was lukewarm.
It was,
it was just.
It was very surprising because J. Cole's usually known to be a lot better, at least a better lyricist.
I think he makes good music when he's not trying to prove himself.
And that's the thing is, for the past year or more, almost 2 years, he's been going on everyone's song and made it a point to be on feature saying, "I'm the best rapper. I'm so versatile. You can't see me." But then when it came to the actual beef, he couldn't bring the same energy.
Yeah, it was weird. And then he apologized for the beef at his concert that happened a few days later, and he's like, that shit was so whack. I'm a huge Kendrick fan.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. And it was like,
It was at his own festival.
Yeah.
At Dreamville Festival. Yeah.
This is also like I also can't confirm this. Apparently Drake was supposed to be at that festival. And then I don't know what happened along the lines, but he ended up not performing, and that's kind of when J. Cole.
We're dropping these breadcrumbs of Drake.
Is what the This is what the Twitter Spaces conversations are saying.
Yeah.
All right. So after that, J. Cole released that, went badly, and then what came next? Was it Push-Ups by Drake, or was it another Kendrick?
Well, it was like that, and then
I think it was Push-Ups right after Like That, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but it was like a leaked version of Push-Ups.
Oh,
so
that's there's a whole another thing about the leaked thing, because why is all of Drake's diss tracks leaking? And some people say it's on purpose, because there was another version of, I believe it was Push-Ups, right?
The first version the first version of Drake's response that he released had the beat from what was the 3 Family Matters? It had one of those beats, right? And I think this is where you're going. The theory is that like he's leaking these songs,
he's trying to test
to see what the temperature for them is, and if it's like, oh, this Drake response is so good, then he releases it. But
I don't think it was Push-Up. What was the long one? Was that Push-Ups?
That was with the 3 beat changes.
Yeah.
Family Matters.
Family Matters. Okay.
One,
yeah. That was after. That was when things got really heated.
And I hate it so much because like those beats are kind of nice.
Right. I like the Push-Ups beat. I like the Family Matters beat.
But not the Push-Ups as much, but Family Matters I really liked. Like if it just without Drake on it.
Yeah.
That's great. Workout and just like running music. Let me hoop to that instrumental.
Speaking of like producers and whoever's making the music, it's funny because I think in Push-Ups, that's when Drake responded. He tried to give a response to everyone who has a lot of beef with him, which is surprising a lot of people, which kind of gives you a message about who's on the right or wrong side of things.
Yeah, man, that's another thing is in the whole process of this beef unfolding, nobody is coming to Drake's like defense
at
because
all.
it's a 20v1 because it is like 20 people against Drake. Kendrick, Weeknd, Metro, Rick Ross,
everyone he's ever worked with.
Everyone he's ever worked with was like, all right.
It wasn't a 20v1 because it was like people trying to be unfair. It was a 20v1 because literally no one wanted to support.
No one likes Drake.
No,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, he said he's like the one line is like a Metro, shut your ass up and make some beats,
and he did,
and he dropped Metro Boomin dropped BBL Drizzy. I've never seen a producer make a diss track.
Yeah. Distrumental.
Yeah.
No, all right. We said we weren't gonna like retread social media conversations and like Twitter threads and stuff, but I do want to say the funniest thing I saw was someone had said, Metro Boomin won this because he made a beat and then he mobilized all the civilian SoundCloud rappers.
The untapped army.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
To also just start roasting.
He decentralized the diss. It's amazing.
He's a socialist. He's a socialist producer.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Well, it's great. I saw like so many people remixing that. They made like an Indian classical version of that. They made a salsa version, like a merengue version of that. It was crazy. They brought in so many people, and this whole beef was so universal. Like people from different spheres of life were commenting on it. I saw gamers talk about it. People with like anime PFPs, like just anime talkers, talk about it and shit. It's everyone from everywhere. Like you wouldn't expect them to talk about just hip hop artists, but they are. Yeah. It's so far reaching.
Yeah.
All right. After Push-Ups, then Kendrick started coming back, and he went crazy, right?
Well, and another thing was there was a gap. Right, because Like That came out, and then Push-Ups was fairly quick afterwards. However, there was a gap after Push-Ups where Kendrick was not releasing. Twitter went crazy. Oh, Kendrick doesn't have anything. Oh, like day 15 and he hasn't dropped or whatever. And that comes in important later because Drake did the same thing. But so there was a break, and then boom, Euphoria came out.
There's levels to that one.
And also it's funny because when Euphoria comes out, people have already been talking, right? And this is just from like leaks, and again, none of the information that we're working with throughout this whole thing is verifiable. It's all kind of just hearsay and just Twitter speak, right? But, and I think this was confirmed, they were saying he had a 19-minute version of Euphoria. So he had 19 minutes worth of content just saying that he hates Drake.
Yeah.
And people were like, oh, he doesn't have anything.
Yeah, I heard rumors that he made 5 full songs that haven't been released all in one session.
I heard that, but 10 songs. He made 10 songs off the bat.
Yeah.
And then he's just been tweaking them and releasing them as necessary. But Euphoria was crazy. I think that's when the accusations started really coming out.
Yeah, and everyone knew about, there's always been talk here and there about Drake's weird actions when it comes to, like, talking to
women in general.
Women, even like his business deals. Everyone knows, like, not the best record, but so everyone was kind of on the edge of their seat. Is Kendrick gonna drop the
bomb?
But he kind of went for, I would say, a controlled approach, and I think that's what Kendrick did throughout the beef. Is like he came for Drake's character on a deeper level. Versus Drake kind of didn't have that approach or couldn't really. So he went more kind of surface level, more like, I'm this, you're not.
Short.
Yeah, Push-Ups was just him talking about his height. It was
right.
Like, oh, you're short. You're short.
Size 7.
Size 7 feet. But then, Euphoria went deep, and it was like, at some point, it was like, no, that wasn't until later, but at some point, Euphoria, he said, like, oh, I'm talking about you as a person, as a man, not just your rap career, not just your business, like you as a person. It was crazy.
Yeah, Drake had a very like school playground bully approach, I think, with his content and like the things that he was trying to use to strike. It was just like very, oh, I have more money than you. I have more records, more hits, more views. That's kind of like all he has, right?
What's the word other than surface level? Similar.
Yeah, it was just, and the thing is, Drake is very public. He's very forward. He's in the pop sphere.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff about him, and Kendrick has a lot to go with. Like he can pick and choose. Versus Kendrick is
he's
very
a lot more private,
closeted. Like he just drops and then disappears.
Right.
He doesn't keep up the pop, image.
He makes music when he feels like.
So how do you diss someone that you really don't?
That's another funny thing. It was like someone mentioned, because like it was he had some big breaks between his albums, Kendrick, like between his first one and then To Pimp a Butterfly, and then Damn. There were some pretty big breaks. Everyone's like, oh my god, Kendrick never released any music, blah blah. And then he releases like 5 songs back to back in this beef. Yeah. I was like, all right, so Kendrick can do it if he just hates someone enough. But spite is such a big factor.
Yeah, and also, I mean, you look at Drake's recent album. He's putting an album every year, if not 2 a year, and they all suck. First of all, and also, he probably has a gambling addiction and needs the money. But we'll get into that.
It's that Live Nation ticket sales, man.
Can we just talk about it real quick right now?
Yeah.
His gambling addiction?
Yeah, did you see? I think Anmol sent me this yesterday. Drake placed like a
$250K bet.
Obscene bet on a cricket game.
On the Kolkata cricket team. Yeah. And I'm like, you got to be deep in the betting, in the gambling trenches.
Cricket?
Yeah.
My God. My God.
Yeah, so there's a lot of rumors about that, about his addiction.
I always thought it was like, does he have some sort of sponsorship deal with Stake?
Yeah, which is a crypto gambling online site, which has a whole set of issues with underage kids gambling because it's crypto.
I mean, the more we talk about it, the more research you do, it seems like Drake's in that same circle of like maybe Diddy, maybe even Epstein. Like it gets closer in that.
We'll see.
I don't want to because that's all like you need some really hard evidence to say that, and I don't want to like say it, but like
for now it's just weird.
You know, if that evidence does arise, no one's gonna be
surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think all this stuff is very like rumor says or some weird
hearsay,
things.
kind of.
Hearsay. What isn't hearsay is kind of what Kendrick went for in terms of attacking him on the culture aspect, on the culture vulture aspect, on the, not respecting, the greats, and kind of behaving in a way like he's a colonizer, not a
right.
member.
It's very funny because he pretty much says one line like, "Oh, I don't want to hear you say the N-word anymore."
Right.
And
that was the yeah.
What a line.
Yeah.
And I think the next song, Drake, he says the other lines like, "Oh, Kendrick raps like he's trying to get the slaves freed," and that kind of like proved
yeah.
his point.
Insane.
And also he started,
but it's like it proves what Kendrick said.
It's an insane thing to use as a reason why someone should be discredited.
Yeah,
in especially in like a rap beef.
It's just distasteful. So
it's wild, and I think it proves like Drake. I think Drake uses his own racial ambiguity to his own power. Where, like, you can say, people joke around, like, oh, this guy acts white, or this guy acts black, or acts Indian, whatever. I think Drake pretty much acts white. And then when he needs
when
to.
it's convenient.
When it's convenient for him, and then when he's convenient, he acts black, essentially.
Right.
And then there was a phase of Drake where he was very much the pop person. And very much, that's usually associated with whiteness, kind of. And he's with the pop singer. He was doing that. And then he tried to go hard and be a more stereotypical rapper.
Right.
And embrace his blackness, quote unquote. And then that's what Kendrick was talking about. He went to Atlanta, worked with all these rappers to try to get that. And what his latest album was, a 21 Savage collab.
Yeah.
And he was trying to be hard there and everything.
Yeah, the whole criticism is that he uses like other rappers to inflate his own street cred, right? Mm-hmm. The Atlanta lines where it's really well done because he points out like specific instances of like, for this aspect of blackness, you go to this person. And for this aspect, you go to this person.
Right.
And yeah, it's pretty undeniable. Like, it's hard to, if someone's saying like, with receipts, this is who you're biting from, and this is like why you do it, it's hard to,
And even outside of that, he just has scummy practices in the music industry. Even outside of like trying to be hard, it's just like signing people, taking their song, and nothing happens. He just gets a hit, and then you never hear from the artist again.
Wasn't there a lot of people that signed on to OVO and then you never heard, like Party Next Door? Whatever happened to that guy?
Yeah, he's coming back out, but it's a joke, like the OVO sweatshop, because he basically signs them to write songs for him. Take Care, for example, was more than half just The Weeknd songs. So
The Weeknd left, right? He made his own thing.
Yeah. Yep.
EXO.
And
something.
they have beef.
That's
surprising.
Sources
Yeah.
of their
He's
beef.
part of the 20. Yeah.
Anyway, we were in the diss track sequence.
All right.
So.
What was it? We just talked about Euphoria. Kendrick went in. Was after that Drake responded, or he put out 616? 616.
I think after that.
So after Euphoria, then we got Family Matters, right?
Drake's response was Family Matters. Right?
No. I think 616 came after Euphoria.
I know, it was like a 2. One time Kendrick released 2 before Drake
was
responded.
616 came out, I think, like the day after. And then later that day, Drake responded with Family Matters, and then right after was Meet
Not
the
Like
Grams.
Us.
Yes.
Or Meet the Grams,
Meet the Grams.
and then Not Like Us.
Exactly. Yep.
All right, so to repeat, Kendrick came out with Euphoria in response to Push-Ups, then 616 in LA, which I don't think anyone really talked about that one.
Yeah, it's not on streaming, but it was a very, I think there's a lot to unpack in it. It was a bit cryptic, I would say. And was that the one where he said, like, we don't want you to say in? And that
was the, I think, Euphoria.
That was the end.
Euphoria.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that
this
one was.
When
that one
I
was
think
very,
the biggest thing about that was the album art. Right?
The album art was the thing with that. That was the
his belongings.
Ozempic and yeah.
That was crazy because so the picture of 616 LA was a picture of Drake's stuff. It was like his medicine, his
Well, so the first track was just the glove.
It was a zoomed in on just the glove
image, and it was a Maybach glove, which is Rick Ross on Maybach Music. So there's a lot of theories of why that was there. And then people started saying, oh, is Drake's driver the mole? So there's a lot of,
that's crazy.
No one really
there's
knows.
another theory that because of that someone got a picture of Drake's personal belongings, his medicine, his glove, his things that only someone in his house could have gone in and taken. So I was like, all right, someone is a traitor in Drake's group, in his posse. Who is it? Is it Chubbs? Is it 40? Whatever, blah, blah. And then, so Kendrick's playing mind games with Drake now. He's like making him consider all this betrayal and shit. But that was 616. And then Drake responded with Family Matters.
Yeah, I think also later it came out that set of belongings was originally it was reported as stolen, but then it was like in possession of somebody who worked in a hotel, and it was discarded there, and they just had
Not
it.
the Ozempic.
There's like a lot of
we'll get
like
into that. That's
gray
a whole
area.
unpack,
Yeah.
But I think the timing also is important because he took a while to drop Family Matters.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, like it's a huge song, 3 beat switches, a video.
Yeah.
And
the video is something else. You got to talk about that too.
Yeah. Crushing the Good Kid, Mad City van. But Drake, everyone thought from Drake's perspective, Drake was thinking that this is it. This is going to finish it.
Yeah, because he threw some accusations in that one.
He started throwing wild accusations,
I think the biggest one was
Kendrick beating his wife.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Dave Free was his manager.
Is his kid's
his actual
father.
kid.
Yeah.
Father of his kid.
His actual kid.
All that. And it's just like, just talking wild.
Yeah. And then the video was him, the Good Kid, Mad City van that's on the album cover. The video was him towing that van and getting it crushed at a impound lot. That was for like 2-3 minutes video of that.
Yeah.
Which is, I found that very funny, but that was very interesting. Like, he really wanted to...
He made a whole...
Yeah, he really went into it. Kendrick did not release a video for anything.
Yeah, it's corny.
And he went to the Toronto restaurant, the Chinese restaurant that Kendrick called out in his other diss previously, where he was trying to make fun of the Toronto accent, saying, I'm at New Ho King, the restaurant, and then Drake shows up at that restaurant having a meal, trying to say, like... And this is a theme throughout this diss, or throughout this beef, is that Drake's kind of responding to what Kendrick did. Not necessarily, he's trying to make his own accusation, but there's not really catching on.
So he had to kind of...
He's like in defense.
Yeah.
So
like this one, I would say he kind of would try to go on the offense with his accusations.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think that kind of backfired with the next response.
30 minutes later, I remember I think it was 20 to 30 minutes.
The timeline is so clear because for those like 4 days, just working through the day and like in the night, just checking Twitter, it would be like, oh, something else.
That was the wildest
Twitter
time I've ever been on.
Social media
so
went in those 30 minutes from Family Matters to Meet the Grams. Absolutely wild.
People were writing dissertations. Like, I've never read so much. Like, it was just all day. Anything could be happening in the world, I wouldn't know about it. Because my entire Twitter feed is just people's takes on this beef. But yeah, 30 minutes later, boom, Meet the Grams. And this is with the zoomed out pic, with the Ozempic, with the...
Got everything in there.
Glove, what else?
There's a jewelry receipt.
Yeah, jewelry receipt saying that what Drake mentioned, or what Drake showed on Family Matters, which was a ring on his, he's wearing a ring around his necklace, trying to say that that's the ring that Kendrick gave his wife, and that he has it, something like that. And then it's a receipt saying, he just bought it.
Yeah, he just bought it. That Meet the Grams is crazy because Kendrick played like a, I don't know, kind of a therapist where he like talked to every individual member of the Graham family, his son Adonis, his mother, Drake's girl at some point.
Well, the big kicker was the last verse, which was Kendrick started talking to a daughter, and everyone's like, wait, Drake has a daughter? He's having another child? So that was the whole thing. Again, that's not confirmed either. But
the amount of like the Twitter detectives I saw was like, oh yeah, I found her. This is it.
This girl, this random girl.
Drake's daughter's baby mama's Ice Spice. They like gotta be look.
Yeah, people were like going into the Family Matters video and they were like, look at the graffiti on the wall behind him. Like there's a picture of a girl. That's the daughter. Is that the one? Yeah, I think that was also like not confirmed at any point, but Yeah, Meet the Grams was an insane, because immediately the tone shifted from like
it was like, and first of all, the beat was harrowing and
nasty,
dark and just scary,
Right.
villainous.
Kendrick was angry.
Yeah, and he just like went again more at Drake's character, more
Right.
at his upbringing, like deep rooted
Like-
stuff. Yeah,
His man was talking to his family, like his son. He told him like, "Yo, your dad's a bad man." Like how?
yeah.
Like, damn.
Or no, your son's a sick man. Like
Oh,
he's
yeah,
talking
yeah.
to his father, like, I'm sorry you had to deal with this guy, and like, I'm sorry he's trying to like claim he's black and trying to use you as a prop, to get his street cred or whatever you want to say.
Yeah, that was another big thing that like resurfaced is that his dad is from Memphis, right? And like Drake, when he first started bringing his dad back into his life, like was
Nothing was the same.
nothing was the same era, using his dad in Memphis and saying like, oh, like I'm actually partially from Memphis was kind of the vibe.
But yeah, he didn't.
It's the culture
grow up
vulture
there,
aspect.
like-
Culture
of it.
vulture. And he was using his dad as kind of like, oh, my dad's from here, so I'm kind of from here. It's just a prop.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, he just went at that. Just again, deep rooted stuff. Everyone's like, "Geez, man." And then what's funny is that track is also on the Billboard top 15, I think. And the memes are crazy. Like, who's listening to that?
It's on repeat that much. It's like you said, like a dark, harrowing song. It's not like something you play on the drive home or anything,
Yeah.
or the club. But speaking of that, the most funny meme I saw was the George Bush Secret Security talking to him in the ear. Sir, another diss track dropped.
Yeah.
And then Kendrick dropped Not Like Us. Oh my god.
And Not Like Us was the next day, right?
Yeah, I think it was like next day. It was like 2
was like
p.m.
yeah.
on a Tuesday.
And
or
that was,
something.
I think that's the nail in the coffin, because that was the final diss track.
Yeah. As soon as you heard the beat drop on that, it was like, it's over.
DJ
Yeah,
Mustard.
like,
came.
don't need
Then
to.
it was just
Because I knew exactly what he was
Yeah.
gonna do, and everyone was. I was on the edge of my seat, like when he's gonna hit the. For me, the red button was him calling Drake a pedophile. Right? We were all like,
once that
what is
happened,
he gonna do?
was-
Yeah, the certified lover boy, certified
And he did
pedophile
it.
line. Amazing.
He did it on Meet the Grams, but that was like no one wanted to like celebrate. Everyone was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, okay.
Like,
Yeah,
this
that was
we
like
might
a
need to-
surprise, because I was like dropping the bomb.
Yeah.
But this one was like, yeah, this is the anthem now. This is I'm making
Mhm.
sure y'all know.
It's like, oh, but this is on a Mustard beat, so I can sing this. And then everyone was just calling him a pedophile.
People
all
were
day.
saying like, oh, Kendrick's not making any of these diss tracks a club beat. I don't want to listen
Right.
to him multiple times. And he's like, all right,
Okay,
bet.
here we go. Yeah.
Here we go. Mustard, get on
And
here.
it's like, yo, why would you beef with a Pulitzer Prize winner? Like, come on, Drake. Like, this is, like, you think he's gonna play?
Dude, yeah,
like, you think he
Kendrick-
hasn't thought of every single,
And, like,
possibility?
crazy.
Kendrick Lamar's whole discography from like his very first early stuff has just been him talking about, I'm not a pop star, I'm a rapper, and
Mhm.
I will like kill your favorite rapper. Like if you diss me, I will kill you. And he's been
And no
saying
one's
that for
done
like
it.
20 years.
Anyone who's done it has kind of apologized. Like, my bad, Kendrick. I don't want no beef.
Yeah.
I know you were like this. All right, come on.
And yeah, that's like the wrong person. He's been telling you who he is from day one, and Drake eventually just took the bait and decided to say fuck it.
It's- He should have. Do you think he should have backed out like J. Cole did?
He was never gonna do it. I think Drake has to. And this is another thing ties into kind of the history of this is Drake trying to act hard. Right.
Mhm.
I think when he came out first, it was more the rap R&B guy. Like, okay, he did take himself seriously, but I think everyone else really didn't respect him as a rapper or as kind of part of the culture in that way. It's like, oh, that's just Drake. You know, Drake does his thing, and I think Nothing Was the Same, as we were saying, was kind of the album where he started leaning into being like, I'm a rapper, like I'm hard, like.
Yeah.
I want my respect as a rapper. Songs like Started From the Bottom. So then it just continued from there. And I think that was a mistake on his part.
Yeah.
Like, I think he just wanted that, like, validation. Like, look, like, I'm here. I'm
Right.
my black rapper. You know, I'm not just this pop artist.
Canadian singer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, like, Take Care he was doing singing, right? He was doing the R&B thing. It was good. There's like good music on there.
It's a great album.
Great album. Yeah. And I think like once, like you said, right? Once people started saying like, oh yeah, he's just a soft singer guy. Drake is also just, I think we know this at this point, he's very insecure, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah,
when someone says, oh, he's just a singer, he's like, no, I'm not. I can rap. And then that's when he started like trying to be something different than what he was already really good at, which is singing and making hits.
I think Drake is very much, he becomes a stereotypical like sensitive boy, kind of like where's my hug guy. That's when I see Drake, that's why I feel like he acts like that kind of person.
Yeah,
all the stereotypes associated with that kind of person, and it just felt like that.
Yeah, and like I would say even bigger than that. I mean, for me, is like I was still a Drake fan after Nothing Was the Same. I really liked Views. If You're Reading This Is Too Late, which is just a mixtape of him rapping, was really good, I think, because he was actually trying in these albums. I think what changed, I think this was around COVID, I would say, for me. I think everyone has their own opinion. He just kind of stopped trying. And you could tell, obviously, like these are low effort songs. You're just trying to get your money and your check. Like you're not actually caring about this anymore. It's very obvious.
Yeah, the content was the same. The beats sounded really similar. Like a lot of those songs sound really similar. Like they could have all just been like one song that he chopped up into many. But like, yeah, it's just low effort. He's producing content rather than like songs. Like art.
Like you look at Hotline Bling, you look at, he's kind of trying to be a content creator, if you want to call it that, instead of a music
2C slide.
Like we're not talking about that song was so good by Marvin's Room was great. We're talking about like, did you see his funny dance on Hotline Bling, or like so
it just, there was definitely like he became a meme at some point,
and he embraced it fully, right?
Definitely. And like not a lot of rappers go on SNL and stuff and do skits, but he did the skits. A lot of them were at his expense. He is soft. He doesn't like being called a singer, and he like hulks out.
And that was the thing.
He's good at that.
He's good at
funny.
that.
That's his acting chops coming in because it's his Degrassi days,
Yeah, that was great, and I think he should have stayed there. But and then he's like, nah, like you gotta respect me.
That's more on his character because he's always an actor. So he acted like a pop star, and now he's acting like a rapper, and then he's acting like that, blah blah blah. This is part of his job. He wants to put on an act. He wants to be different characters. Whereas Kendrick, this is who he is. He's a rapper. He's from Compton. He's from this. This is his life he's talking about. While Drake's trying to imitate, like, oh yeah, what if my life was like that? I could just rap like I'm that kind of character, like I'm that kind of person.
And after a time of someone, and I think this is true for like, I almost kind of felt like this, is like, if someone keeps trying to put up the act for a while, you're like, oh, he kind of might be that. Like, it's like if you're talking about it for 10 years that, you're hard and you got shooters, kind of might,
yeah. Like, also, we're just civilians. Like,
what do we know?
We're going to consume what we're seeing and hearing. And if you're telling us that for 10 years,
right?
Sure, whatever. You are that. All right.
Yeah. So
where do you think this beef originally started? Because we talked about in the beginning that this went back years, not just this month, but years in the making. Where do you think this started? Where were the breadcrumbs?
Yeah, people have talked about this, right? So like, this is actually like, it starts way before Drake and like Kendrick, right? And this kind of goes back to Drake not respecting his peers in the context in which what's the Kamala Harris? The context
in which you exist.
Yeah, Drake is not he's a coconut on the tree.
They all fell out of coconut trees.
Yeah, Drake. Yeah. But yeah, so like way back in the day, this is like Drake's mentor Lil Wayne and Birdman. I think this is mainly Birdman. So he worked with Pharrell and the Neptunes, and he didn't pay them for a beat or something. I think this was the origination of this beef. And like, so there was a beef between Lil Wayne, Birdman, and Pharrell. And Pharrell being from Virginia, also Pusha T and Clips, right? And so that kind of led to Pusha T having beef with that group of people, Birdman, Lil Wayne. Fast forward a few years, Drake is signed to Lil Wayne. He becomes like part of that Young Money squad. Pusha T is like, I don't like Drake now, by association.
Also, one thing to add on that is also Lil Wayne. Part of it is they didn't like that Lil Wayne was wearing Bape and kind of stealing Pharrell's swag. And that's why the song Mr. Me Too was released at that time. So then, so now there's kind of this rift happening.
Right.
Young Money, and then you have Pharrell, Clips.
East Coast.
Yeah.
People.
So that caused down the road Pusha T to eventually diss Drake, cause him to reveal his son, become a good father.
He dissed him into being a father. That's crazy.
Yeah, not a good father, just a father.
Just a father. Just acknowledging that he has a son.
Yeah. And then I think from there, like the appetite for calling Drake corny and like acknowledging that Drake is corny, because I think up until a certain point, he was putting out so many hits that people were just like, it was hard to deny it, right? Like,
there was a period of time, like 2010s to 2015, 18, like every year there's a Drake single that everybody knew. It was like a summer hit. Everybody was singing along. God's Plan, like Kiki, whatever, everything.
Yeah. He had numbers. And I think like when Pusha T dissed him, we saw like a few cracks in the armor, I guess you could say.
The image of Drake we all had.
The image of Drake that we all
crumbling.
had. Yep. And then I think like up until very recently, I think there was a fatigue for Drake in pop culture that we didn't want to like collectively acknowledge until Kendrick Lamar made it cool to say Drake is not cool.
I think that really happened with like CLB, Certified Lover Boy. I think that's when like the real decline started.
Yeah, that was like
it was a low effort album.
Yeah, like, before CLB, I think like all of us were kind of in the same boat of like, all right, yeah, Drake makes music. We like some of the songs on the albums and stuff. I think CLB, that was like the line in the sand between like hardcore Drake fans and people who were like, this is kind of weird. This is bad. Like,
well, even people who were big fans of Drake were just like, I don't know, we can't keep excusing like bad albums.
Like that album had the Too Sexy song. Right?
Yeah.
And that was like
one of his worst.
Was that a parody? I felt like a parody song. I felt like an SNL skit.
Like, I think he leaned into it, but it's just like with the video, it like looked like SNL. It looked
exactly like that, yeah.
But another thing is with kind of the Kendrick timeline as well, simultaneously as this is happening with Drake and Young Money. Drake took Kendrick on his first tour to open for him. So that was like a big look. And in his diss tracks, Drake talked about like, hey, I'm the one who put you on, like you owe me type of deal. But so it kind of started there. Obviously they were cool. They even made a song together, Poetic Justice. Right. But since that point, I don't think there's exact details, but there's rumors about Kendrick not liking the way Drake is moving in the industry, whether were verses sent that were not returned or whatever the case may be. But since then, Drake has been shooting subliminals at Kendrick, and Kendrick has been low-key doing the same back. And Drake does this for a lot. He's the best at subliminals like in the industry. Sneak dissing. He'll do it all day. But now you look back and you're like, a lot of Damn, like the lines in Damn, the lines in
the
Family Ties.
Part 4.
Like, even they went back as like the Black Panther album. That one single that came off it. As that one line.
Yeah.
Yeah, so since then, and how long has that been since then? Almost, I would say.
A long time. 5 years.
6 years.
Yeah. They've been just going back and forth.
This is really the tension bubbling at this point.
Yeah.
Like, whatever happened between first person shooter and like that, something major happened. Maybe Kendrick sent in a verse.
It could have been something, yeah.
Dropped that or rejected it. Something crazy happened.
Like, Kendrick was ready, though. This dude was
He was
ready.
like, yeah.
He probably made those.
Despite such a big motivator.
Yeah, he probably made those 10 songs like as soon as he got off tour with Drake.
10 years ago.
Just like, he's like, I need to do something about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think everyone like collectively didn't want to acknowledge that it was a beef, But looking back, it's so clear. Like Kendrick's dropping these bars for Drake, like, and Drake's doing the same.
Yeah.
Like it's at Kendrick, but no one
It
wanted
was
to
all
accept
very
it.
rumor based. It's like, oh, it's a theory, but
Right.
now everyone's like, oh my god, I was right.
Yeah.
They were talking
Yeah.
about each other.
And also, like we said, like Drake has so many enemies. Like
Right.
we
It
don't
was-
know.
Yeah. Even going back, like he
Yeah.
made an enemy out of his own mentor, like Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne
Mm.
brought him on, signed him onto his record and stuff, and then Kendrick said that one line, "Fucked on Wayne's girl, you conniving." Drake
Yeah.
had an affair with Lil Wayne's
Yeah.
girlfriend when Lil Wayne wasn't in prison.
Yeah, and that's pretty much validated by
Yeah.
Wayne. He said
And then
that.
he got Drake
Wayne-
got a Wayne tattoo on his like shoulder or
to
arm
apologize.
to apologize. Like, what?
And this whole thing, Lil Wayne did not say a single thing.
Yeah. yeah. Yeah, man.
There was like, as soon as like Meet the Grams dropped, and then like the next day, Lil Wayne was doing like NBA playoff reviews. He was talking about Rudy Gobert's defense and stuff. He was like, I really like, yeah.
In his defense, I've seen so many interviews where Lil Wayne is just so out of touch with music now. He doesn't care.
Mm.
He made his music. He made his millions. He's
Yeah.
like, nah, I don't listen to anybody. I don't care about anybody. I'm just doing my own shit. So I'm sure he's still in that same mindset. He does not care. He's all past it.
And that's the thing is like Kendrick's jabs were so like directed. So like
Yeah, he hit the pressure points.
this
and
came
everything.
straight for his like, oh, your mentor, the one you like, that's your profile picture, like as a, you know, yeah, you did him dirty. And it's
Yeah.
like, whoa.
He doesn't like you.
Yeah.
Like he,
And then
your
he
friends don't like you.
Also, I hate you.
also you should die.
You should die. Yeah.
Literally, he said you
Also-
should die.
Yeah, you shouldn't exist. By the way. And then Drake's like, "Oh, you're kind of short."
You're short,
should
and
die.
you might
Yeah.
beat your wife. Like, no, you are a terrible person. Your existence is questionable.
He hit both angles, right? He took like the really abstract diss route, and then he took the pure hatred route of just saying, "I want you to die."
I've never heard
He
this
did,
track
like,
where
the
they just
dance.
straight up say like, "Kill yourself."
Yeah, he said, "Forget the artistic. I don't want this to be digestible. I just want you to know, die."
Yeah.
Only Kendrick could do that. I've
Yeah,
seen a
man.
lot of people bring up Eminem in this. Like, what would Eminem do if this was? What if Drake said something as Eminem or something else?
Shout out Iman.
Yeah, I feel like Eminem would be crazy. He'd be on the same like veracity of Kendrick, but he'd be saying some really out of pocket shit that you would just be
Yeah,
like,
I
oh,
feel
that's
like-
really
realized-
nasty.
Sorry to cut you up. One thing we skipped in this beef was the AI generated diss track. that
Oh, we
Drake
we did. You're right.
We skipped that part
I
because
know
that
about that.
was
Because it got erased from history when he got to take it
yeah,
down.
it got cease and desist, but that was after push-ups.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't talk about it, but this
Drake
ties
did
in a lot of stuff in terms of he used an AI voice to mimic Tupac, which he knows
Mm.
is Kendrick's biggest idol.
Right.
Like he considered himself a direct lineage from Tupac. Like I'm carrying the torch, and he used his voice in AI trying to diss Kendrick, and he used Snoop Dogg's voice in AI. Who Snoop Dogg is alive, by the way.
Yes. That's like a.
He
and
probably
which
doesn't
is-
like Drake
it's-
either, so
it's-
that's
He doesn't
why.
like Drake either,
Yeah.
but
It's
yeah.
so telling because he had to use AI to replicate a living person's voice because he couldn't convince that person to come to his defense in real life.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
world in which Snoop Dogg would say, "You know what, Drake? Let me give you a feature."
Yeah, and that leads to like the pattern of Drake disrespecting the culture.
Right.
Because Tupac is the culture, right?
Mhm.
And in Not Like Us, Kendrick goes, you know, you think the Bay is gonna let you disrespect Pac. I think that Oakland show is gonna be your last stop. So it's like kind of unifying people is like, hey, that's true. Like you can't diss our culture.
Everybody
Like what the
hates
hell is
Drake.
that? So it's like now the culture has kind of turned itself against Drake.
Damn.
They're making it cool to hate Drake.
Yeah.
That's what's happening, and I'm here for it.
I
All
like
the
Drake with
haters,
the I like Drake with the
vindicated right now.
melodies.
Yeah.
I
Drake with the melodies.
I like
Yeah.
Drake with
See,
the melodies.
okay. Let me also like preface and clarify. Right. I'm in the same boat as Anmol. I like the old.
I love
like, the
R&B
R&B.
Drake, man.
I like
Controller.
my, I like
If I
my
had a-
more life Drake. Go back. You don't need to do a
Dude.
Jamaican accent. Just make some
Yeah,
dancehall beats.
yeah.
Yeah. Controller comes on. I shirts off.
Oh,
Passion fruit. I'm shaking ass.
Yeah.
You know.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't like Drake when he act tough. That's like
That sums it up.
that's what it is. Like you can
Stay in your
it's
lane,
so
man.
clear that he's like pretending, and you know, like I think what resonates in music is when you hear something and you're like, I believe what this person is saying.
Authenticity.
Mm-hmm. And Drake's music just doesn't have that anymore.
When you don't have it, you can tell. And
I think like Take Care era, Nothing Was the Same. He was kind of like still trying to be like serious about himself, right? But he wasn't like lying. He was like, I'm a singer.
Yeah.
I do R&B.
Yeah.
This is interesting because there's a lot of commentary on Drake's dating life or romantic relationships that ties into what we're talking about. Like, oh, Drake doesn't have a steady girlfriend or a wife after all these years of being famous. He's rich, he's tall, he's good looking, and apparently he has a big dick from his leaked pictures. But he still can't manage to keep a woman.
This is like unrelated, but people say he leaked those pictures himself.
So yeah, even more
because he bragged about it in his track.
Yeah.
So even more evidence that something is like personally wrong with him that turns everybody off. That he can't keep a person in his life, and I think Kendrick, this whole thing showed a lot of that.
Yep, kind of deep.
They're just both like very antithetical on very opposite sides of the spectrum of what they represent, and
I think
content of music.
Kendrick is upset that they're considered the same genre.
That they're
considered the same, and that like Drake wants to say that he's not Drake wants to say, but like, they're generally considered on the same.
They're on equal standing, but clearly.
And even when I heard that Big Three thing, like people are saying, like, it just doesn't make sense including Drake. Like, he's his own thing. Like, he was never
he's a hit maker, which is
he can't be the best rapper.
Yeah.
I think if anything, it could be called like if you just count hits or something in terms of
what
we remember as a pop culture thing.
Oh,
everyone will remember the Kendrick song. Everyone will remember the Drake song.
I remember the Drake songs though because I heard them everywhere. I didn't like.
Yeah,
you know?
It's not whether you like it or not personally, but maybe it's just how popular it got.
Yeah, I spun Controller a lot. I didn't play God's Plan on repeat, but I heard it a lot because like it was everywhere.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and even Toronto doesn't like Drake.
Even his hometown doesn't like
the top charts on Apple Music for Toronto is not like us.
I heard this one meme with like Adonis, Drake's son. Whenever he's mad at him, he's gonna go into his room and just start.
Dude, in this whole thing, like Adonis Graham is gonna grow up with so much lore.
Yeah, I don't know what
his life is.
His life is
how his dad's image is publicly getting ruined or like revealed. I don't know how much he knows or understands as a kid. But it must be crazy for him. Who knows how much bullying he's gonna have to face?
You gotta be at least as sentient as that baby, the fully conscious baby,
the Four Seasons Hotel baby.
But yeah, no, I mean, like, I'm sure he at least understands to some degree, like, what people think about his family and his dad.
I'm sure him and his sister are crazy right now.
You should have a button just for the intro for Meet the Grams button.
Dun, 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 dun.
And then a BBL Drizzy button.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last thing. Let's see. What do you guys think of the accusations Drake and Kendrick lobbed at each other? Kendrick beats his wife. Drake as a kid. I think the pedophile one is kind of, there's a lot of stuff going around about that.
Yeah.
The other two.
So I'll start. I think obviously these accusations are like super serious, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if there is evidence to support any of it, I'm hoping they would be released and they're not being withheld as like some sort of ammunition in terms of like firing back in a future instance or something like that. Like if there is evidence, I would hope that it would be released, right? I think because there's probably a lot of signs that point to these things being true, but not a lot of hard evidence is why it's being released in this format of like talking about it in songs and like making these accusations instead of like going to the police and saying like, I think this person's doing these things, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but again, like the accusations that Kendrick Lamar is making is like Kendrick's accusations are serious things that are, you know, go to jail.
Right. Go straight to jail.
Yeah. Go straight to jail.
I feel like when I heard him first accuse Drake of these, I wasn't really surprised. I feel like in the back of my head, after hearing about Drake, what he does, it kind of made sense. I saw the breadcrumbs. Like, I'm not too surprised if this was true. like it's
Yeah.
terrible thing.
And you know, we left off at Not Like Us, but there was another Drake track in which he's basically saying,
I don't think it's a coincidence that
I'm
we're
not
forgetting.
a pedophile.
Yeah, we're forgetting all the Drake.
Yeah, I never
Responses.
like looked at Millie Bobby Brown like that. It's like no one
Kendrick
even
never
mentioned
mentioned Millie
her.
Bobby
You're
Brown.
self-reporting.
But I think what I heard was like, because that line he says, mentions Whitney right after that, which is also Kendrick's wife's name was Whitney.
yeah.
But I think he was doing
He's trying to do a
thing with that, and then apparently Whitney Houston husband's Bobby Brown was the abuser.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like Millie Bobby Brown. It was like a whole thing, but still.
Yeah. And then
Eh.
and he's like, "Oh, I planted that."
Yeah,
Whatever.
we didn't talk about that. Yeah, so apparently,
Which makes no sense. Okay, you planted info
So-
of you being a pedophile.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
yeah, that'll get him.
And you know what the
him
thing
in
is?
the meeting
the-
room
Oh,
with his buddies.
It's like,
Like, yeah,
I have a
let's do this.
second. You know what? I'm hiding a second child.
The
Put that
first
in.
time that I heard about the plant thing was like,
Yeah.
it was somebody on Twitter with like 30 followers, like a Drake stan, who was like, "No, man, Drake, he planted that information."
And Drake's
It's
reading
not
this.
real." Yeah, and I think Drake is like basing his response and strategy off
Of
of
what people are saying.
Twitter
online.
discourse.
Yeah, for sure.
Oof.
You can tell. He had nothing, man. He had nothing to respond
That's
to.
more
after Not Like
evidence
Us.
to like Drake, how he's more of a he's more for consumerism, where you're just listening to what people are saying and responding and talking. He's like
Yeah, he doesn't have
if
that
TikTok
dog.
was a person kind of thing,
Yeah.
just doing whatever's trending.
Yeah, 100%.
My God.
But my thing is like, say all of this is all rumor. Say it's all false on both sides. Okay.
Uh-huh.
What's not false is one thing, which is Kendrick calling out Drake's actions in the culture, his respect for the culture, how he moves in the culture, how he's using it for his own benefit and not giving back or not, putting on a costume. That's facts. Like there's no,
Yeah.
we don't.
There are
have to-
really palpable shots that come outside of a criminality kind of thing.
and
There's like-
these are deep like character flaws, right? These are like Drake. How you've built yourself as a person is not good.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
bad.
It's not-
And that is what's gonna sit with Drake for a long time, until he needs to make a new album to feed his gambling addiction.
Of course. He's got to bet on
Then
the
he'll
next
come
cricket
out,
match,
yeah.
India versus Pakistan.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Oh, there's one thing we didn't talk about. I forgot. I totally remember.
we kind of glazed over some of the Drake responses, but like again,
They were
there's
not up
much-
to
They weren't good enough.
Like,
Yeah.
they were
Like,
not good.
they're
Like
just
they were actually not
overshadowed.
good.
Yeah.
I mean, the big ones, I think we talked about the big ones where you're like the accusations he said about Kendrick,
Yeah.
the video,
Yeah.
for Family Matters.
And a
Yeah,
lot of
much
like
else.
and a lot of his response stuff was based off of Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
And his
Like how you gonna diss someone
interpretations-
who like literally has an album about like
That dissected himself as a
dissected?
person.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's like how are you gonna diss him? He's like, yeah, I know. Like I
he did the what's 8 Mile
Oh, yeah.
Rabbit. He like dissed himself before
yeah.
anyone else could, and now it's just like invalid. But Drake also like tries to use that album as like ammunition, and he misinterprets everything
Mhm.
that Kendrick is saying. Like he says
Oh, my
when he's
God.
talking
Yeah.
about in his song about his uncle, and like he's saying he didn't get molested and people didn't believe him, and Drake's like, oh yeah, that one song you got molested,
Right.
That's
yeah,
why.
It was a total, like, he didn't even read
Yeah.
anything. The
Yeah.
other one is like,
Bro, we got Rap Genius.
just
go on your phone and
Just
read the-
Google. Like, come on, even
He
with the
just
AI
turned it
overview.
in. He didn't even
Yeah.
do proofreading.
But another really bad misstep was Kendrick's favorite line is like, "Oh, you trying to strike a chord, but it's probably A minor." And then Drake responded with in
I
his next
dropped my
one.
phone when I heard that.
Drake responded was like, "Oh, you're trying to B sharp. B sharp is a note. That's not a real note."
Come on.
It's like,
Oh,
come on, Drake.
God.
You're a musician. You're supposed to know this. Your ghostwriters don't know this either.
And
You
you
just
know-
lost the entire music major
Yeah.
population. They're like,
It's
no more Drake.
Oh my
Those
God.
kids were all Pulitzer
Yeah.
people anyways. I think
it's just L's all around for OVO. It's bad. The other vaginal option.
But I think, yeah. But here's the thing about the internet these days: people have a short memory, and as soon as that next Drake banger, I think this might have bullied Drake out of being a hard rapper. Like I think he might not venture back there. He might not make those
Yeah.
21 Savage tracks.
I think unfortunately it's not going to result in any like sort of like career. Not unfortunately, I'm not trying to say like stop making music, Drake, but like I don't think it's going to be like career ending for
Yeah,
Yeah, like almost said.
Everyone will forget.
I mean, even by now, I think everyone's forgotten, and it's gonna be. We're going back to another summer Drake hit.
Yeah, as soon as that One Dance 2 comes out.
Yeah, the two dance.
I should have said that. cut this.
Cut this shit. Bring it back.
When that 2 dance drop,
Dude, our synchronized brain rot over here. Yeah, but like Drake's gonna be fine. He's gonna release a summer album. Like we're not gonna talk about
public
it.
perception will probably forever be marred.
Yeah,
but
he's such a machine at pop hits, man. He knows how to do it. At the expense of whoever.
Yeah, he knows how to find
another accent to bring into his repertoire.
Yeah.
My God. All right, guys. I think we should close this out. We talked a lot. But I think last note is, I guess, who do you think won?
Drake.
BPL Drizzy every day.
I think Metro Boomin won.
I think the culture won.
Yeah, I think
hip hop won because hip hop for the last couple of years has kind of been, I don't know, stale. So this kind of
reignited the fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think hopefully it'll pivot away from the like content creation sound of just like all the beats sound the same and just rap about the same thing. Hopefully more people are like, oh, I gotta like actually put thought into it.
This all started from one producer, Metro Boomin, is like, let me invite Kendrick to make a verse here. Yeah. I don't think Metro Boomin did not know that, or I'm pretty sure he knew that Kendrick had something to go. He didn't invite him just like, oh, it's be fun. Like he knew. He was conniving.
It's time.
Yeah.
He knew something.
I think Kendrick just hit him with the it's time.
It's time. Just a picture of the button.
Yeah.
All right. That's it for our podcast today. Thank you guys for coming. And next time maybe we'll talk about this some more.
Maybe we'll talk about Taylor Swift and how she's the Drake of the pop world. That's
How
neither here nor there.
How she's the great value Lana.
That makes Lana
save that.
That makes Lana Kendrick.
Oh. But
Great
that's for
value
next
Lana.
time. That's for next time. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you guys next time. Hey guys, Rahib here. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to the channel, hit that bell button to get a notification whenever there's a new video. If you want to support the channel, check out the merch shop, as well as the Buy Me a Coffee page and the Patreon page to get monthly benefits such as exclusive BTS content, unedited podcasts, and early access to all the videos. All the funds help grow the channel and keep it afloat, so any and all help is appreciated. All the links are in the description, and I'll see you guys next time.